Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Creeper World 3 Ark Eternal. I said I was going to do this map, and I didn't lie to you guys. I had to wait until this week to actually record it, but this map is one that I feel isn't necessarily the best map in Creeper World 3, but it does show off the mechanics that I was talking about last time to a good degree. What's going to happen in this map is we're on this kind of 2D projection of the planet, and you'll notice off to the right there is this other moon that's going to be orbiting around the planet. Now, it doesn't look very big, but it's going to cause gravitational waves that will cause the creeper to flow around the planet and potentially overwhelm our defenses. So what we start here in the middle, obviously, because there's going to be these emitters over on the side. They're going to be putting out creeper, and that moon's going to head around to the, I guess, counterclockwise, around that way. So we're going to be starting here in the middle. And, of course, as last time, our job is to figure out where to put our command points. So I'm just going to kind of tuck it up in here. Probably bad place for it, but it's at least going to be the safe for as long as possible. Let's go ahead and build out a little collector network so that I can get some energy. And I'm going to try to do this in a way that I can get some ore collection early, but not stress my early game resources. If I'm really clever, what I can do is I can be kind of have it building in two directions at once rather than everywhere. And then I'll expand it out and put in more nodes once I have more energy coming in. But you start the game with a pretty small energy budget, if you will. So I'm going to try to do this in a way that I limit how much is building at once. So let's come around over here and we'll just kind of connect up here and see how that does. We're obviously going to expand that out, but, well, I messed that up, but it'll be okay. So, at the beginning of the game, you're not going to see much in the way of the tidal waves, but you can see this planet is starting to move around the planet. And you can already see some early effects of that, but it's really going to become apparent once there's a fair amount of fluid out and about on this map. So let's go ahead and build out our energy network. Just go ahead and get that early game energy so that we can build some reactors and get that going. We're going to need some cannons relatively early on. You'll notice we do have a nice wall around our base, but that's not going to slow it down for all that long. We're really close to the emitters, so they're not going to have a problem coming over those walls, and there are holes in the walls. Now, we could repair the holes. That's something that I haven't shown off in this game, but there is terraforming. There's a TERP module, which I don't know what that stands for, but you can use that to terraform the terrain, and I could build up walls. Really, I'm thinking I can just use that to those holes to shoot creeper before I normally would be able to with cannons. And really, what can't cannons solve, right? Alright, so let's try to get some energy here, build out some reactors. I'm actually kind of impressed by how much energy I'm already getting in. I guess part of it is the fact that I had 2 command centers, and those command centers do have energy gain. Yep, some creepers starting to come over the sides. And this is going to completely change, because as that moon orbits the planet, you're going to see the waves of where stuff is coming in just completely change. Now, if I move relatively quickly here, my early game plan is to try to get some mortars set up around this wall so that we can be working down the creeper without even coming out of our walls. Because the worst thing you can do in this map, well, okay, there's 2 things you can do in this map that are really bad. One is you burn through all your energy, and you don't have enough to power your weapons, and it just comes pouring in a vast wave. Okay, obviously, that's bad. We've got beam. We need to put up some beams. Okay, so those are little spore launchers. I mentioned them in the last mission, and I need to put up these beam weapons here to shoot down the spores that they launch. We might beat them. They say 92%. Anyway, the other bad thing that can happen is if you don't actually work on the creeper early enough, then it will be able to build up very large waves. And that's what happened to me when I first played this map, is I just took too long to build up. And so lots of the creeper was coming through, coming over the walls, and I had to stay ahead of it. Now, I eventually did win, and it was a really satisfying victory. But really, the smart way to do this is start hitting the creeper early so that you don't get hit by these large waves where you're picking off the back of the wave, but you're not really harming that front surface of the wave. You can almost think of this as like attacking a hurricane and attacking the front of the wave. And you actually want to attack the front of the wave, not the end of the wave. I think this analogy broke somewhere, but that's kind of what we want to do here. And the reason for that is, yeah, while picking off the kind of the end of the wave is useful, if we don't stay ahead of that large wave front, then it's just going to continue to kind of stay in front of us. And that's something that, obviously, we want to avoid. So I'm going to try to put some mortars up here. I'm not going to power them yet, because that's more than I could probably afford on my energy budget. But also, I'm just going to put them here on these little high points in the wall, all the way around the base. And if I do this, and I do it well, and I'm smart about... we lost one mortar. Okay, I won't be able to put one there, but hopefully I'll get one around here around the sides of the base. So these mortars are well positioned. They're high, so they're less likely to come under attack from the creeper, but they have good firing points to be able to do a significant portion of damage to the creeper. So right now I'm just trying to figure out a way I can provide power to these from the high ground, because eventually that creeper is going to start coming into our base through those little cracks I mentioned. And I need to make sure, well, I guess I'll just put it down here on these, but I need to protect my power supply so that the creeper can't just knock out these mortars. And, okay, here come those spore launchers. So, I built my beam weapons to try to defend against this. I'm going to knock down 2 out of 3, but it's going to come over here and it's going to land, and it's going to put out a bunch of creeper. Now, fortunately I landed on a cannon, so that was okay, but it could have potentially destroyed my energy network. And that would have been, obviously, very bad. So, I'll probably need to build some more beam launchers to protect my southern quarters, but there's only those 2 spore launchers. There isn't one in the south, so I really don't have to pay too much attention to the south. I could probably just build maybe another 2 beam launchers and I'll be alright. But I have spent way too much energy here trying to build these mortars. We'll recover from this. I might have to turn the mortars off, but, oops. Now, fortunately, it's still early in the map, so that's okay. But I'm hoping that as these get built and start getting some ammunition, my energy recovers. Hope. Not, this is going to get awkward pretty fast. It's very easy to do that in this game. It's very easy to overspend and then not have enough left over for actually running what you're building. And because you actually spend energy on the ammunition that the weapons shoot, so you have to leave some for that, and that's actually something you have to watch out for when you start getting some of the super weapons late in the game, late in the campaign. You have to make sure that you actually have enough energy to run that. If you look at our beam weapons, they've completely used all their energy shooting down those 2 spores. If there were more coming in, I could easily get overwhelmed just because I don't have enough power to get those up and running. Now, I built that extra reactor. It's still not enough. I feel like we're kind of recovering, maybe a little bit. -8, -8, -7. Okay, not really. Should I go ahead and build it? Yeah, let's go ahead and build one. Honestly speaking, once that one is built, I figure we'll probably have enough power. I hope. Okay, so, but you're starting to see that some of the mechanics in this map, I hope, as I've just kind of build up here. I'm going to go ahead and try to connect up these other mortars. That if you let the creeper build up in this map, you will be facing massive waves of creeper that is more than you can shoot down. So really, that's why I'm focusing and letting my energy stay so low, is I still want these mortars firing. Because I want to keep that creeper level down. And I'm having some trouble here on the left side of our base. And just picking off everything. But as long as I can hold my ground, I can recover my power usage. It's not going to be a problem. And we'll be alright. Let's go ahead and, oh, that reactor's almost done that we built. Let's see if that improves the situation before we do anything else. Almost done. It is done. Do we have enough? We're not doing too bad. We're only at -4, so let's go ahead and build another one. It should build a little bit faster than the previous one. And then at that point, we should be kind of getting over this energy crunch here. Okay, so yeah, with this moon coming over this way, you'll notice that up here at the top, we're now kind of facing more pressure from there and from the right-hand side, because the moon is on the left-hand side. Which that means the mortars on the left-hand side aren't even firing here, because the creeper is pulled so far away. You know, I haven't really looked, but I hope there's some community maps that really take advantage of this and do this kind of same thing, because it's really neat. Okay, so what I just did was I put down some sprayers. This was something I couldn't show in the last map. I did mention that they'd be highly effective, but we didn't have any ore, so I couldn't use them. This map we do have some ore. You'll notice up there we have an AC meter. And what these sprayers do is, instead of bringing in energy and firing some sort of projectile, they'll put down AC, which is anti-creeper. I need some more beam weapons here. And that anti-creeper it just damages the creeper, but it acts like your own creeper, which on this map is really cool because your own anti-creeper reacts to the way that the moon is moving. So you're going to see that it gets pulled toward the moon. It's really neat. So I'm just going to turn these always on. I don't have enough ore coming in to support that, but that will mean that any ore I get in, rather than saving up to use on something like bombers or something like that, they're just going to immediately pump out. And this is really going to help us defend our base to a degree, because our own anti-creeper is going to leak out through those cracks, and that is one reason why I haven't fixed the cracks, is because now I can use that and send my own creeper outside the walls and to help defend my base. Okay. At this point, our energy has recovered, so I can put down this forge. So that's kind of the first Titan you get. It's almost like a super weapon, but really it's just a research center. You saw me build this in the last map, and now is about the time I can actually build that. I have enough energy built up. My base is secure. I have mortars on the walls. We're doing all right. We're not doing fantastic yet, but we're at least doing all right. So now is the time for me to build the research. I probably should have done it a long time ago. You're probably telling me if you're good at the game, but I haven't played this game in years, except for the map you saw the other day, so we're just going to do this. And I'm just going to continue building up my reactors as I do this, so that I can be sure that I stay ahead of my expansionist tendencies here. Okay, so there you can see a very nice wave of our own anti-creeper filtering out, and it'll start building up. That's the neat thing. It's just like the other creeper. Even if our creeper isn't doing anything right now, it's still building up. We're still building our own wave of creeper. And you'll actually see that we kind of get in between those waves of creeper over there. Okay. I could also use shields to defend my base, but I really don't need to. With these mortars on the wall, I don't know if you can really tell, but we've kind of held off the creeper already. I think this is one where, honestly speaking, if there were difficulty levels or something like that, this would be a prime candidate to kind of ratchet up the amount of creeper that gets spawned, because, you know, this level caught me out with the first time I played it. But now that I've come back to it, it seems so easy, because I know what the trick is. But I still feel like this level is a prime candidate for testing your ability to adapt. This game forces you to adapt in many cases because the levels are all different. But this level in particular, you have to approach the creeper in a very different way. You have to stay ahead of it. Even when you want to go out and attack these individual nodes, you have to think ahead. So that you have to think ahead so that you can actually stay ahead of the wave that's coming your way, because you might move out to try to attack a particular node, but when the moon is going around and it's coming over top of that node, there's no way you're going to kill all the creeper that's there, unless you just have a massive amount of cannons, and if that's the case, then you've probably already found out how to approach this. So this map in particular just kind of completely upended my understanding of how to approach the creeper. Now this is at least halfway through the game, and you're used to seeing new and unique things, but this just completely changed how I thought about it. And what's really neat about this game, and something that is so different from every other tower defense game or strategy game out there, is not only is this game asymmetrical, so that's okay, already getting away from most real-time strategy games, but, you know, there's like no AI going on here in your enemy. You're playing against just game mechanics. There's just pure game mechanics, the way fluid acts. There's something that is injecting fluid, and that's really kind of it. There's no, oh, I'm going to game the pathing of the AI or anything like that. No, you can. I could go out there and I could build a channel through the world, and the creeper will flow into it and follow it. I could totally do that. You know, I probably should do that. That's actually a really good idea. But that's what to me is so interesting about this game, is just through the pure exploration of fluid dynamics. The Knucklecracker has come up with a way to make an asymmetrical tower defense real-time strategy game that forces you to think about things differently every map. It's just neat. That's why I like this game, is because every time I sit down to play it, every time I load up some community-created map, they're exploring different mechanics and different things that spawn out of this formula that has been made for you. It's almost like there's this canvas of, okay, here's fluid. Here are turrets. Have fun. And that's really what it is. Okay, so here is a Bertha, and this is a mega cannon. It's going to take a lot of energy to charge up, but we can direct it to fire at some long-range target, and it's going to decimate whatever creeper is there. In some maps, this is kind of crucial to actually make progress. But I'm just going to use it to keep the creeper at bay as I sneak over here to take out this spore launcher. So, because the moon is on the other side, I can completely build over here and build a nullifier right next to this spore launcher, which is going to allow me to destroy it and stop those pesky launches. And so here I'm exploiting the moon. I wouldn't be able to attack the one on the other side. There's way too much creeper that's going to be getting near that one. But I can attack this one, and I'm going to. And this is actually kind of how we're going to take out all of them, is we're going to use that moon to our advantage. We're going to defend wherever the moon is, and then we're going to attack wherever the moon isn't. And we lost a relay up here. I need to rebuild that. That spore actually landed and knocked out our stuff here. So let's go ahead and build that. Get ourselves a little bit more build speed, just so we can get this nullifier up and running. That's really my goal here. We'll be fine. Spins up, and sound effects required. Okay, now we'll just move out. And now we'll get ready for the moon to come over to the other side of the planet, and we'll attack the other spore launcher. That's the plan, at least. Let's go ahead and put another cannon over here, because the creeper is coming over the walls right here, so it's in my best interest to defend against that. Now, I could use that circle of power over there, if you will, that was underneath the launcher. I could put something out there. I have power out there, but really what's going to happen is I'm going to lose my relays, and then I won't be able to defend it. So, really what I'd rather do is... Ooh, our Bertha is built. Okay, let's go ahead and, I guess, target the one in the north? Because that's the one kind of that goes toward... either side. It really doesn't matter. Well, I'll just pick that one. That's the one that doesn't have a collectible, so we'll attack that one first, probably. There goes our relay. But this really means we're about ready to start attacking the other side. In fact, I could probably already start building it. Let's go ahead and put down my advanced relays somewhere in here. Start trying to build my power network out to that launcher over there. In fact, let's make sure that stays defended. There we go. Put a cannon over there. That should keep it safe. Because our relay is on the high ground. Ooh, there goes the Bertha. Yeah, and that's really good for just destroying a lot of creeper. So we'll build up our little network here, and there we go. Okay, nifty. So let's go ahead and let that destroy that. We'll have plenty of time because the moon is on the opposite side of the planet right now. There's no creeper attacking this position, so we'll just build up. Okay, well, one thing that's happened is it's actually been about a week since the first Creeper World video. I'm now recording this a week later. And I've gotten a chance to actually play and finish Particle Fleet Emergence. So I could give my initial thoughts on that before I actually record any gameplay from it. And if you're a fan of Creeper World, you'll probably like Particle Fleet Emergence. I'd say as of right now, it's not quite as mature of a game. Creeper World 3 is obviously, well, you know, kind of the third one, although it's a pretty big deviation from 2, from my understanding. I've never played Creeper World 1 or 2, but my understanding is it's kind of a bit of a deviation, but it's definitely different, and it still has all of the things you'd come to expect. It has the community map editor, it has scripting, it has a ship editor, it has non-campaign maps, it has this community map browser, it has all this stuff. It's still jam-packed. I've only ever encountered one bug in the whole game, and that was just, it got hung one time after playing a scripted event, and I had to restart the mission, and I was, I was literally just clicking through the text that the people were saying at the start of the map. It was really no big deal. So it's an incredibly polished game as far as the content that is available, and I mean, honestly, the amount of stuff that's in that game is probably more than most AAA games are after DLC. I mean, it really is. It's really well developed, and there's a lot of content there. I'm just going to build out here and kind of build my power network from two different directions so that I can start building cannons on the other side without having them be subjected, if you will. Because I need to keep the creeper down so my nullifier can start up. So hopefully my building network will come through on the other side. I don't have enough to upgrade the build speed, but that's okay. We're probably going to lose that relay in the middle. Yep. But that's okay because our power network is going to come up from the other side and build those cannons. Might not be able to build them all, but we'll at least be able to build some. And good try again. Cheeky. I'm trying to get those cannons up so that we can actually fully charge that nullifier. We've still got enough time on the planet. We'll be all right. Okay, back to particle fleet. Yeah, I felt like the game wasn't quite as mature. The game mechanics are still all there. They're fun, but I didn't find that the maps were as varied as quite as much as Creeper World. Like I said, in Creeper World, as I played the game, like every single... Oh, that was very fortuitous timing on that. Every single map was remarkably different. I mean, some of them had the same general idea, but they were all unique in the sense that you were having to overcome different challenges. And really, it felt like in Particle Fleet, every map just introduced a new wrinkle, but you still had to deal with all the old wrinkles, and then you had to deal with some new stuff, and you get more ships, and you overcome the particular issues, but it's just not as varied, and the storytelling I felt was not as mature as Creeper World. And Creeper World 3 was my first Creeper World, so when I experienced the story, to someone who is familiar with the series, it might have seemed a little bit old, but for me, experiencing it for the first time, there was a maturity in storytelling there where the characters were just as clueless as I was, and they were discovering the things at the same time I was. In Particle Fleet, that's not the case. The storytelling is much more, oh, these characters have secret knowledge, they're referencing things that you don't know about, they're talking between each other, kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and you don't get the full picture until the final reveal, and that's just a little bit... It's just not as sophisticated and mature of storytelling, and that sounds kind of crazy to say. I mean, we're talking about Creeper World and Particle Fleet. I mean, one of these is kind of like a tower defense RTS hybrid. Well, why am I talking so much about the story? Well, it's because the story in Creeper World was that interesting to me. I did want to find out what was going on with the world, and I felt like I got a rewarding story, and it was kind of this, when the big reveal did happen, it was like, oh, wow, cool, So, but did I enjoyed my time with the game? Oh, absolutely. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. I just don't feel like it's quite as good as Creeper World. But you know what? Maybe it's more of your thing than Creeper World is, and it's certainly newer, and I'd be interested to see where the developer takes the formula. So I mentioned there being an interview. Yeah, I've left him alone. I'm going to probably pester him tonight and about that interview, and we'll be conducting that in the next week or so, I'd imagine. I've tried to give him about a week to be able to handle any launch issues and be able to focus on fixing any bugs or crashes that people are experiencing. The last thing I want to do is take his focus away from the release of his game and make things worse. So I've held off, but now I feel like it might be appropriate to start that conversation up again. I've still been working on the questions I want to ask. I've got a lot of those written out, and I've got a lot of information that I can send to him with that written out. So I've at least been able to use that time to kind of get ahead of the game there, and I feel like I've got a pretty good set of questions. So hopefully that'll be interesting for you guys to watch. Now, at this point in the map, we are completely in control. There's really not very much creeper left. There's now only one emitter. And so you didn't see what I was kind of hyping up, where you had these waves of creeper overflowing your base. But the thing is because it's this fluid, if you let it kind of get out of control, if you had not been so proactive in fighting it off, and you actually did let it build up into these waves, it's not very hard, but it is an interesting tactical challenge to then get ahead of the situation. Because you have, okay, so you have, you know, this wave of creeper overflowing, and it's moving around the planet, so you're constantly having to lift off your turrets and move them to try to stay ahead, or to try to focus them wherever it is flowing over your walls. And so I'm not showing it the best. I mean, I told you guys that I kind of hyped up the difficulty of this mission as though it was some like super difficult mission. And you know what? The first time I played it and the time I actually beat it, it was. But the neat thing was this game, because there is, you know, your opponent doesn't play by the same rules. So if you get in a losing situation, as long as you don't actually lose, you can come back from that situation through smart play. And that's really neat. It's really neat to see a game that lets you do that. Now here we stayed ahead of it, we didn't get put in that situation, but we didn't have to. We didn't have to be ahead of it. And really, maybe I should show off some community maps that can show you that play from behind situation wherein there's a lot of the creeper built up, and it's flowing swiftly, it's overflowing your positions, overflowing your walls, so you have a lot more tactical considerations that you have to deal with. For instance, we really didn't have to worry about it flowing over the walls too much. We fought it off before it got to that point. But had we? Oh gosh, we'd be constantly trying to defend different portions of our base, and then you push out? How on earth are you going to push out during all this, you know? So, here we go, we finished. I'm going to skip all the story stuff. Yes, it's a 3-year-old game. No, it's more than that. No, I think it is a 3-year-old game at this point, but really, the game goes on sale for cheap enough. I don't want to ruin the story for you guys. I've mentioned the story being pretty good, and I still feel that that's true, and I don't want to spoil it for you, so we'll skip that. Plus, I've completely skipped a ton of missions, and it wouldn't make any sense for you anyway, so let's just skip that. Here we go, we're gonna win here, and boom, claim victory, 21 minutes. A lot faster than I did it the first time, I can tell you that. Yeah, sure enough, that's my best time. So let's go ahead and submit our score and see how we did. Still submitting? Okay. Oh, okay. Alright, well, let's see how we did. We can see what our online score. We'll go up here and we'll type in our username, and there we go. Oh, look at that. We're number 1. I'm just kidding. We're the number 1 dire penguin here. So, how'd we do? I guess we could kind of erase all this, refilter on maybe 3 days. Probably the best way to do it, because I have no idea how I did. In the past 3 days, I have done. Okay, we did 9th there. So you can see somebody managed to complete this game in 4 minutes and 14 seconds. I have no idea how they did that. Like, seriously, it boggles my mind how good people are at this game. But that's okay, because it's single player, and I don't have to replicate that. Alright, so there you go, and here's the world map. You can kind of see how many different zones there are, and there's a varying number of missions in each zone. There's 3 in this one. And with that said, I think that we'll call it here, and next time we'll be taking a look at Particle Fleet Emergence. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.